All right, all right, all right. Let's try this again. So, I am. This is what it looks like. This is the room they gave me and my roommate. Got a roommate during the COVID. It's kind of messed up, but we all seem healthy. Um, so this is the room they sent us to for orientation, and found out before I got here actually because I looked it up. But this motel, was bought by this company so that they could keep their trucker somewhere during the information. So a little bit about the orientation for this company. I might not name it specifically, just so I can make sure I can use this. So yeah, for this first video I'm shooting, I'm not gonna name the company I'm working for, but I will imply it. Maybe I'll tell the address or something like that of this hotel. But I will say this: I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, so that's a big hint right there. And I'm taking these courses, and I'll tell a little bit about orientation today. The best way to learn anything, I learned this before. Like I say, it's COVID right now, so might as well keep my face covered up. And today was the first day of orientation. So we got up really early, got on a bus. We was out there. We had to be waiting by 6 o'clock. The first bus left before 6 o'clock. Then the bus came back for the stragglers. And we got to school. I was the last one on the bus, so I happened to be the first one in line for the UA test. They took 5 of us back to the back room. The doctor, the P doctor here, he gave us a long, scary speech about not doing drugs, and not giving him no dirty piss, and not failing a test. He said if you do, you'll be in big, big trouble. I'm not gonna misquote him, but of course you're not gonna get to work here if you fail a drug test. It is a urine analysis, and they take you in the back. They do the normal stuff that they do at these DOT truck stops. They search you a little bit, have you lift up your shirt, and maybe whatever. Some places are ridiculous, and I will say the name of this company I worked for before. A company that I'm not real happy with. My roommate has just returned. But a company
I'm finna get the fuck out.
No, you good, man. I'm just recording a video for later. I'm not putting it up live or nothing like that. I might not release it yet. But I'm just selling. Let me pause this. So we'll get back to the story. Oh man, got my mask off. I can edit that out through YouTube Editor, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, back to this COVID shit. That's the first thing I guess I'll talk about is the COVID thing. So right now, it's in 2020. We are living through the COVID-19 epidemic. And everybody should have their mask on when they're in public. Now me right now, I have a bandana. This is not good enough protection. Especially when you consider how I traveled here. I came here on a Greyhound bus. And there was no social distancing on some of those buses. The buses were more empty than I've ever seen them. But there's still no social distancing. So for the bus, I chose this, which I recently washed out by hand. That's why it's hanging up over there. I had this with a filter in it. They sell face mask filters. They're about $1 a piece. I found these at in a small town. It's like a hobby store. So, and this to go over top of that, making sure that I held this in place over my face at all times while I was on the bus. This was inside of this pouch. I used to work for Domino's, and they gave us these masks. They have this patch, and like I said, I had it covered with this. So I was quite concealed, but I also looked quite scary to some people. Another thing that's going on right now in 2020 is the COVID-19 and the protest. It's election season, and Donald Trump is the president, and a lot of people are not happy about that. But that happens every time. There's always going to be some losers when it comes to that presidential shit, and they're going to be unhappy. And some of them might soak. Some of them might soak for years, and we've seen this now. We've seen it through the Obama era. We've seen it through the Bush era before him. We've seen it through, who was before Bush? Clinton. We saw it 8 years of Clinton. Then we saw 4 years of the first Bush. A lot of people protested him. That was the go for. Nobody liked that. And they were out in the streets marching. All these presidents got demonstrations and marches and crazy lunatics burning effigies. Obama got that. They was real cruel, especially the Fox News types. Very cruel to Obama during the Obama era. Blamed him of being a secret Muslim that was born in another country. And all kind of weird stuff, man. Said he was born in Africa, like his father. He was born in Hawaii, and if anybody's ever had a Hawaiian accent, it's that dude right there. So anyway, now we got Trump. A lot of people unhappy about that. We got the Antifas raising hell in some of the cities, the usual suspects, Seattle. They actually took over a bit of Seattle for a while. Called it, I don't even remember the name of that. But some anarchists and hippies and Black Lives Matter protesters and others, new groups popped up. Black Lives Matter first popped up during the Obama administration, mainly behind Trayvon Martin and Tamir Rice, John Crawford. George Zimmerman got away with murdering young Trayvon Martin, a 28-year-old individual, shot and killed a young man that appeared to just be walking to the store to buy Sprite. Or no, he brought some tea from a different company. Hopefully I remember to edit out the plug for Sprite there, the free plug for Sprite. They're not paying me. But it was, I can't remember, Arizona iced tea. He had some of that. He bought some of that and some candy. Young 17-year-old kid. Clearly with a kid's mind. All he had in his pocket was some Skittles and some soda of tea. And sad tragedy, man. I think it was shortly after his 17th birthday. Tall, skinny kid, but he was scary looking to a lot of people. And that should be the first thing I do in this video. By the way, they gave me this orange band when I first got to orientation. And I'll get back to that, but I do want to get to something more important. I am a black male, grew up in America, born in Chicago, then I lived in San Antonio, then I lived in Austin. Those are the cities that I've lived in for years and worked in. I was a truck driver for a while, been to the 48 connected states. If you could drive there in an 18-wheeler, I've been there. And now I was born, I won't say my age, but I will say I was born in the 70s. Got my CDL in 2002. I was on parole at the time. Talk about a lot of real shit. This is a long time I wanted to start No More Lies News. And what better time to do it than the present? And I think I'll start with this No More Lies News by talking about trucking, something I have some experience in, and I'll give the news and report the news as I travel around this country. But right now, Black Lives Matter are protesting, and I'm not on either side. I'm a conservative. If I had to pick a political party, I'd probably say I was a Lincoln Republican, even though I haven't voted for any Republicans in my life except for Ron Paul. The only time I ever voted in my life, it was Mitt Romney versus Obama. I'm a pretty conservative dude. A little too conservative to be voting for a man like Obama. So I didn't vote for him. I wrote in Ron Paul. At the time, I was living in the state of Texas, and even though I'm an ex-convict, for most crimes, if you do all of your time, you'll get your voting rights back in Texas. So I got my voting rights back in Texas, and it was Mitt Romney versus Obama. I knew Obama was going to win. That was my prediction. I predicted he would win the first time. I was right. And at that time, you could say I was a fan of Ron Paul, but I wasn't voting. I didn't believe in the process. I had been to prison. What sent me back to prison was a crime I didn't commit, and I'm going through some similar stuff, fighting a case right now that crime I didn't commit. It happens when you're a black man sometimes in America, unfortunately. What percentage of black men are in prison for crimes they didn't commit? Nobody knows. They've been releasing quite a few black men because of DNA evidence. Proved that they never even saw a woman that they spent 20 years in prison for allegedly raping. They find the DNA, the rapist DNA inside of the woman. They identify the person, and back then DNA testing, some of these guys, man, unfortunate things happen. Right now, another thing in the news, in alternative news, in Twitter news, let's talk about black news. There's been a rash of viral videos going on called Karen videos. Karen entered the lexicon probably back in the days with the comedian Dane Cook. Love stand-up comedy, and Dane Cook, he had a special back in the day. The great comedians of our time, the observational comedians, they keep up with current events, and they have a real good way of viewing society and analyzing society. Beautiful satire is good when it teaches you a lifelong lesson. And Dane Cook's special back in the day, I can't remember the name of it, but this was back when he was smoking fire. He was making money and filling up arenas using MySpace, back before anybody really thought to do that. He got a large following, and he has some great specials. And one of these specials, he has a joke. I'm going to try to repeat. I can't do it as good as him. But he has a joke about how he thinks black boys are the most beautiful babies in the world. And I have to say, I agree with him. I got a couple black boys myself. And when they were born, boy, you know, when you see that baby for the first time and the beautiful baby boy is yours, it's nothing like that. So I agree with Dan Cook. Black babies are the most beautiful babies in the world. He says that they were so beautiful that one day he would love to adopt a baby himself. Now, in case you don't know Dan Cook, he's a white comedian, and he did his comedy with a little extra whiteness to it. He used a funny voice, and he was real animated. And yeah, he wanted to adopt a beautiful black boy, and he was going to keep him till around the age of 13 when they start getting scary. It's a hilarious joke. Of course, I didn't laugh. I don't think I laughed for a while. I had to watch it a few times before I could laugh at that joke because it hit so close to home. I was once a beautiful baby black boy. I was once 8 years old. I was once 5 years old. I was once 3 years old. I was once a baby. Little baby that my mom held in my arm. As I grew, and something you notice as a black man, you start looking, they look at you, oh, you're walking through the streets and through public. I grew up in Chicago. Very busy street, lots of people, saw so many faces, went to interracial schools, went to some all black schools, but went to some interracial schools too, and lived in interracial neighborhoods from time to time, and sometimes neighborhoods of a different race. And when you're a baby, strangers look at you and they go, oh. They keep doing it when you're 5, you're 6, you're 7, you're 8, but then once you're around 10, 11, 12, 13, things start to change. People look at you differently. They don't look at you as somebody to protect. They look at somebody for you to fear. And if you get a little muscular, if you're more athletic, if you have a stereotypical look that's associated with thugs and gangbangers, if you dress in the athletic style, it's a good chance you could look scary. Right now, because of COVID, in public, we're required to wear a mask on our face. If I was to decide to take a jog in my athletic-looking gear, with my sneakers on, my running shoes on, if you saw me running through your neighborhood, how would you feel? If I was running towards you with a bandana on. That's one reason that this other mask is better. Some of these masks, you want your mask to look friendly because you don't want anybody to be intimidated by you. As that person that grew up as that little baby, you don't see yourself as a threat. You don't see yourself the way other people see you. You see the most trusted person in the mirror. This is the face you're most comfortable with looking at. You've seen it more times than you've watched it grow, again, from a baby. You don't see yourself as threatening, you see yourself as yourself. but others see you differently. And if you become a man, a large man, you don't even have to be too large. You could be a shorter man, 5 foot tall, 4'5". But once you get over 100 pounds, you can be a formidable creature. Humans are at the top of the food chain. We eat everything. Bears don't eat humans too often. Humans will eat bears, though. Shoot them and eat them. Pigs don't eat us too often. Tigers, lions. We're more likely to catch them than the opposite way. Humans are at the top of the food chain. The most dangerous threat to the planet is the humans. We are the apex predators of this planet. And when someone sees you, they see you, a large human male. And if you're a black male, put a little extra spice on that. If you're a Hispanic male, put a little extra spice on that. Latino male, put a little spice on that. So this is the talk that every black parent has to give their black sons as they go from adolescents to teenagers. Be careful, people are afraid of you. The cops won't look at you as somebody that they need to run into a burning building and run out holding you in their arms anymore. Now they look at you as potentially somebody that might say, everybody, it's a stick up. You might be the person that punches them out of the bar because they got too fly. Or maybe they made their little inappropriate joke in front of you and you got offended. You're a threat now. You're a potential threat to most people. This is a real important for my oldest son. He's going to be bigger than me. I'm not really a big dude. I'm pretty slim. So they did give me... I've been skinny most of my life, all of my life. They gave me somewhat of a Napoleon complex when I was a skinny teenager. When I was 16, 17 years old, I was about 5'11" and about 130 pounds, 135 pounds. First time I went to jail was 17, and around that time, the officials that arrested me recorded my, last time I really remember, I think I was 18, I looked at it and said, 5'11" and a half, 135 pounds. Most women in America weigh more than that. Most women that are 5'4" weigh more than that in this country. So I was a pretty small dude, had a little bit of a Napoleon complex. And I'm still slim. I'm weigh not too much more than that, but it's all developed muscle at this point. I'm athletic and I do like to jog. I like to walk, like to exercise. And that's another thing I want to recommend in my advice for orientation and for, I'm going to make this video about 30 minutes long as I talk about orientation. So